Ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for watching the Reds Report. We're here just like we are every week, whether we win, lose or draw. We're not just here for 2 short months with, some quick sporadic shows. We're here forever, Carlo. We are the longest serving podcast and vodcast. Barnsley FC related, although we do go off tracks and talk about Coca-Cola and Sunday League football and being from Holland. But mainly, we're about Barnsley FC. With me, my 2 favourites, as always, Carlo van der Watering.
He knows what to say, don't he, Andy? My 2 favourites. Were all the other ones busy?
Are you all right, Carlo?
Yeah, not too bad. How are you, mate?
All right. How's work?
Busy, but it's all about tomorrow evening, isn't it? Never mind.
My heart bleeds for you. You've carried Barnsley town and that workforce on your shoulders for the past, 15 weeks, and I need some time off now. That's me done. I've got 6 weeks off.
He's done 4 full days and now he's got 6 weeks off. I tell you, life's not fair.
Also with us, we have BFCStats man, Andy Goodwin, or Andrew Goodwin, whichever one you want me to call you. I don't need to get... You all right, Andy?
You want to use my Sunday name today, dear?
Tell me about them corners, Andy, that we were taking in training over there. I'm good, Andy.
Oh, yeah, you're not bad, yeah. You've got a good shooter. I'm aching, to be honest with you, mate, from 5 hours over 2 days, yesterday and Monday.
Yeah,
all that training. But,
and I mean, size of your head, really, any corner's going to be a good corner, isn't it?
Yeah, I'll go out and do anything with this one, won't I?
I've heard on the grapevine that you are playing a friendly match in the next couple of weeks. That happens to be against the team my son plays in now. Even mentioning there's a friendly match being arranged. So I might have to go and maybe, who knows, maybe even set up some sort of video equipment and show the people that watch and subscribe to, what you're talking about. Because
I've not heard anything about that. Have you, Andy? I've not heard a thing.
No,
me and Andy are not in the know. We just crack on. Just like we should probably crack on. We'll get on and talk some Barnsley, shall we, for a change? That'll be good. Yeah. Let's do it. Carlo, we'll start with press conference. Health and well-being. Palmer, still injured. I think we expected that. Similesh, he's not going to be fit to play. And it is from that tackle in which Fox got sent off. I just wonder what your thoughts were on that ankle ligament. That could be a long drawn-out thing for Elliot.
Yeah, I mean, the press conference was yesterday. He said that in the next couple of hours, he'd know. The fact that we haven't heard anything, I don't know. Maybe they just wait till after this match. But yeah, it's never good, is it? Young kids getting a chance, doing all right and all, isn't he? So it's not great, but time for others to step up when called upon, surely.
Yeah, time for new heroes. And they were talking about the physicality that Wigan games first. Most physical game I've seen Barnsley involved in a long time. Physicality or mentioned in the press conference with Struber. Do you feel like we've matched that physicality of the Championship this season? When I look back, I can't think of any games we were bullied out of it. More that we probably just made more mistakes than we scored. Really, would that be a fair assessment?
Yeah, probably. We just lack that little bit of nous on how to use that physicality, don't we? At both ends, I'd say. You've got 2 very strong centre halves at back in Solbauer and Anderson now, and then earlier on in the season you got Almey and Diaby, who are not exactly weeds either, are they? I just think as well we've missed that physicality up top though since we let Kiefer Moore go. We've not really, not at all replaced him, have we? We brought in Patrick Schmidt, who must be about 5'8".
Look, but it's best transfer window in history, Andy. What? Patrick Schmidt? What? What's funny?
You trying to get me started?
We've all seen the tweets.
Carlo, Struber was asked about what more he can ask for his team. He talked about the last third, which I think we'd all agree on, really. I think that's a very fair assessment. Last third, being able to have the right balance. He talks about balance a lot. I think he means balance in terms of decision-making and when to shoot and when to pass and, pulling the trigger and stuff like that. He says that we work hard and we work hard for his luck. We probably haven't had his luck, but he hopes that sometime soon, i.e. Leeds, his luck's going to come in. What do you think on that, Carlo?
I'm not sure if it's luck. I think it's decision making some of the time, rather than passing forwards. We're going backwards. People having a shot where maybe there was a pass on. So I don't think it's about luck. I think it's more about decision making and you know, does he have enough time in between matches during this period to really sort of, you know, look at that? In his previous press conference or afterwards, Wigan, what did he say? That the mood for execution wasn't there. So to me, it's mindset, isn't it? Because let's face it, when we go forward, it all looks pretty nice until that final third, and then either the service is not there, and because that's intermittent, let's say, when a striker does have the ball, you know, it's a little bit wide, it's a little bit high, there's a block. So I'm not. It'd be harsh to say we're doing everything right, but you know, we're not having any luck, because I think we could do a lot more right.
I recall, I think two big chances against Luton where we got behind them and delivered, you know, pulled it square and didn't get a body on it, you know, and it just been quite dramatic, but not getting anybody just close enough. And I think it happened again against Wigan, and possibly some shooting, maybe when we could have passed and laid off. I don't know. Back to that then, and they're talking about attacking, talking about defending. As defensive structures obviously got better. And I guess one of the questions to Struber was that as a sacrifice, is that why we're not scoring as many goals or probably not attacking as much? I just wonder if there were a myth around that, and are we scoring as much, or what's the stats on that? Have you got anything on that?
Yeah. To be honest with you, we mentioned this at the start of the restart when I spoke to you about it. We said it's looking as though the defence has tightened up, but you hope that that's not going to be at the expense of putting them in at the other end, and it looks as though it has been, because I checked out the goals for and the goals against stats for the entire season, separated it into Struber and then the rest of it, and we're looking at 1 goal per game prior to Struber. That's only increased ever so slightly to 1.1 under Struber. So you could say there's not really much difference. Obviously, we know that the goals conceded's come down. That's 1.26 per game under Struber, whereas before it was 2.06. So we've not got worse in front of goal, but we've certainly not improved.
No. So we've slightly got better on the goal front, slightly, like minimal. But we're conceding a lot less. So
I think the attackers are taking more responsibility of defending from the front under Struber than perhaps they would. And that is going to come at a cost, isn't it, with your goals for column?
Of course, Andy. But stats. I mean, what do they mean, stats? I mean, they're pointless, aren't they? I mean, what a pointless stat that is. But every stat, you've got to be able to read it and understand it and interpret it your own way, haven't you? That's how stats work. Is that right, Carlo? Do you get that?
It is, but for a club that's based its DNA around stats, I think it's very important that this young squad. Again, and you know, but if you look at Mowat, protecting that back four, but he's not providing any chances up front because of purely the position that he's finding himself in. And yes, we do. Coley Woodrow comes back for every set piece and everything else. If we then do break, he is not always there. So it is one or the other. It'd be great if there was a little bit of a balance saying, you know what, but you know, we had a terrible defence. No, we didn't have a terrible defence. We had a defence with players in that made some terrible mistakes at terrible times that cost us terrible points. And I think to sort that out, it took some other players off their position. So, you know, if only we had, you know, maybe like a central defensive midfielder, like from Australia or something, you know, with a bit of pedigree and who could pass the ball from defence and transition that into attack. But obviously we let him go. So, yeah.
Fragile's the word I would use. Not terrible. Fragile. It looked fragile. I'll be nice. Carlo, many players are working out of the comfort zone, according to Struber. Many. However, he said that some players are only working at 98, 99. And we need one more out of them for Leeds. Would you argue that's a fair assessment in terms of Barnsley can't afford to have 5 or 6 players playing at 100% of their ability? Barnsley need to have at least 9 to be able to even, you know, contemplate getting a point against Leeds. Would you argue that's fair?
It's at the bottom of the table. Any good manager or good person motivator should I get them fired up at 109, every single one of them, because that's what it's about. I remember the Great Escape. What was it? 2006 was it? Flickr. Having that talk in the dressing room after Huddersfield, saying you've saved people's jobs, you've saved people's careers, you've saved people's mortgages. And it's almost like he's not going to do that, Struber, because it's going to get lost in translation, isn't it? I don't know if that's where part of this problem is, but the young lads, they thrive on confidence. You get confidence from winning games. If you're not winning, and we're not losing them, we've had one terrible game, and that was Stoke. We've done all right otherwise, haven't we? But that's not always gets, that doesn't always get the confidence up. A derby game might do it, and you'd hope so. We're nothing to lose tomorrow, have we? We have absolutely nothing to lose tomorrow, really. I mean, so looking forward to it.
Andy Carroll's talking about mindset there, and motivation from the aspect of everybody firing on all cylinders. If I were to ask you about skill level, do we need 11 Barnsley players playing to their maximum skill level, maximum focus, to be able to get anything, to even contemplate getting any points out of that? Surely we can't have any passengers.
Yeah, of course. I mean, if he's talking about Barnsley players playing at 98, 99, I think even if they played at 100 then, if that was 98 and 99, they're going to have to go beyond 100 to get something from Leeds. The Wigan points looking better after Wigan's result yesterday. I mean, when I saw that, I just thought, that's Paul Cook. He's got them fired up. It's us against the world. They've had a really terrible piece of luck with what's happened to that club, and you can just imagine what he's been saying to him to get him that fired up. And we need that in the dressing room beforehand. It just remains to be seen whether Struber can do it.
Andy, do you think it gets lost in translation purely because of his English? And I'm not, I'm not going on about, do you think in these cases having an English-speaking manager would he find better words to fire these players up? Because, I mean, his English is okay, but it is still limited, isn't it? Do you think that, and I'm not saying we need a British manager, but I'm just wondering when, it's all right when you're winning, same as under Stendhal, wasn't it? When you're winning, look at it, it's not needed. But he found it very difficult to get the same out of those players when we went up one division. I don't know. I just think, I know he's wanting to motivate him. I'm unsure if he can, because I said it last week in the press conference, you look, and in his body language, as he speaks to the press over these Zoom meetings, I don't see that fire. I don't. So I wonder if the players see it, if you know what I mean. You see it with Paul Cook.
We
wonder. Sorry, go on, Andy.
We know what character Paul Cook is. He's fired up. He knows what words to use in the dressing room to get his players fired up. Like you say, whether Struber knows what words to use to get his players fired up, we don't know. From what I've seen so far, it doesn't appear to be the case. So
no, it just makes me wonder if we're missing just a piece of the puzzle in that coaching team. In terms of we had a Dale Tongue before. And you've got somebody there who is very close to Barnsley, very close to his heart. I'm not saying that Struber don't care, but it's just the way of interpreting that and putting that across in a different way, like Carl was suggesting. I don't know. I don't know the answer. Sure. If we stay up, then we've got all the answers, haven't we? And if we don't, then there'll be a thousand other questions, no doubt. Struber mentioned it's not easy to play against us in the press conference, Carlo. He said we have to show this one more time. They believe in themselves. They believe it's their responsibility and it's their duty to do so. I just wonder what your thoughts were on that, Carlo.
Well, I hope
one more time, or is it 3 more times?
3 more times, really. You know what I mean? You look at the table, and I think the results yesterday didn't do us any harm. I looked at, before we came on, I looked at the form table. We're not talking about Birmingham, but they've not won a match yet since lockdown. Obviously, Hull are down there. Blackburn only picked up a point. QPR has only picked up a point. So this, 3 more times. Are we going to get something tomorrow at Hull? At Leeds. If we play to our best, who knows? But it's Leeds, and the form table, they're top. But that doesn't mean tomorrow we're down if we don't win. There's still 6 points up for grabs. And I'd like...
I love your positivity, Carlo. I really do. I admire it.
Listen, if you don't, what's the use? You might, we should have given up. We should have given up before the lockdown even started. These players on their day, when Leeds came to play at Oakwell earlier in the season, they won 2-0 and we gifted them 2 goals. And I believe we gifted them a penalty and a free kick just outside the box. And I'm pretty sure it was Cavare that tackled somebody, and there was absolutely no need. They found it hard.
Nketiah was the bloke who came off the bench and changed the game. He's not there.
No.
Calvin Phillips is not there. I'm just trying to think a positive. I mean, let's be right about it. We won't be doing the podcast now if 1%ers didn't believe we could have a chance, we'd have all give up, wouldn't we? We'd have all gone on holiday and not bothered.
And wouldn't it be a typical Barnsley thing to either get a point from Leeds tomorrow or, nick it in the last minute or something silly like that? They normally have a wobble. They haven't had a wobble yet. There's time for a wobble yet. This is Leeds. They probably will go up, well deserved. They've to play really well. But if the players, I suppose, that missing 5 or 10% is maybe spending some time with people like us and other fans that it really means something to. And we're still positive. And people are, heads are maybe down and you look on social media, but, there's 90 minutes to play for tomorrow. And if they play like they can give Leeds a game.
Fingers crossed, Carl. Last point then, basically, Andy, from the press conference. He was asked whether they needed to take more risks tomorrow. And he said, no, not risks. Brave boys. I need brave boys tomorrow. Would you argue there weren't enough brave boys on the pitch last game? Or do you feel, I don't know, what do you draw from that in terms of brave boys? I'm assuming it means people wanting the ball, wanting to beat players, wanting to shoot, believe in their own ability to a certain degree.
Yeah, it's that language thing again, isn't it? Like Carlos mentioned, I'm not quite sure exactly what he means by brave boys. I would say that we need to take more risks. But if that's not what he means, then fair enough. But we certainly need to get something, because I'm looking at those last two games, and although it's feasible that Forest and Brentford may not have anything to play for by the time we play them, I'm thinking we've got to get at least a point from Leeds to keep us in touch with everybody else, because Charlton played tonight as well, and that could potentially have an impact on us. We don't even know whether we're going to get that points deduction at the minute because they're putting an appeal in. So I think we're at the stage now where we're not only relying on what we do, we're relying on others as well, and that's not a good place to be.
But if Wednesday's 17-point deduction goes through this week, we'll be fine. So, Carlo, the big debate on Twitter, which I'm not sure why it's a debate, but it's been a big debate. Struber and his formation and his setup, and he doesn't know what he's doing. And he's not playing Corley Woodrow up top, although he did play Corley Woodrow up top on Saturday. I don't know what game some people are watching.
I think in phases, didn't he? I think in phases where he changed it midway and sort of made some changes. But yeah.
Is it Struber's fault in this predicament? Because some people think he's out of his depth and he don't know what he's doing. And maybe that's why we're where we are. But I don't know where people have drawn that conclusion from. How have people got to that conclusion, Carl? Did they watch the match? Or?
Is it Struber's fault? No, I don't think it's all Struber's fault. I think as fans, we've known this team longer than he has, and I think sometimes we query certain things. Okay. You look at certain players, we don't see them training, but then again, there is not much training because we're playing almost every 3 or 4 days, and they said themselves last time, there was no training after whatever the match it was, Stoke or whatever. I just query sometimes why he waits so long for substitutions. The Apple Halme, he comes on, and I'm not saying every time Apple comes on he scores, because he won't, but in that match he came on and he scored, and I'm thinking he put him on with 10 minutes to go and we were behind. What is different in the 80th minute than is in the 65th minute, for instance? You know what I mean? Yeah. So maybe that's what he means by risk as well, because I suppose the problem is you can put somebody on and it can change the balance and you can then, you can lose. Yeah. And I thought tactically, and I'll be honest, I thought when they went down, when Wigan went down to 10 men, they made some changes, and I thought we would have countered that in some sort of way by saying, right, this is what they've done. This is our opportunity now to sort of counter. It's like chess, I suppose, isn't it? So... Yeah. He said himself in the press conference, after these 3 matches, he's going to take a little break and reflect. My gut says, if we go down, I don't think he'll come back. I think he finds it, And let's face it, I think with no knowledge of the English game, as in managerial experience, to come in mid-season in the Championship is difficult. Especially we were rooted at the bottom already. Because let's not face it, the reason we're in this position is because in the first, and Andy will know, X amount of matches under Daniel Stendel, I think we got 4 or 5 points. And, we were always on the back foot. So he was always going to go on the back foot. Is it all his fault? No. And I think players, during the season, we've seen many players make silly mistakes that have cost us goals as well. So I think it's a joint thing, isn't it?
And then a question to you then, in terms of shapes, Andy, I don't know if you've got anything on Corley Woodrow. There's this argument about playing him up top, playing him in attacking midfield. I know he gets on ball a lot. I think he's one of our highest success rate in terms of passes. So he's obviously influencing. What about his goals and things like that? How does that affect how deadly he is in front of goal and things? Where does that leave us?
Well, Carlos mentioned it before that he moves back and forward, doesn't he, during a game?
Yeah,
we've got three or four different formations that we'll play and switch to during a game.
Yeah.
But looking at where he started throughout the season, he's level in the Championship anyway. Forgetting the cup goals, he's level. He's got 7 from the tip of the diamond, or the number 10 role, if you like, and 7 from playing as a striker. So I don't think it makes that much difference whether he plays out-and-out striker or tip of the diamond, to be honest with you. But some people will tell you otherwise, obviously.
Yeah, he's still contributing, isn't he? Wherever he is, he just needs other people to contribute.
I think for me, I completely agree with Andy. My reasoning has always been, if we put him up top, we can have somebody like an Alex Mowat who's assists, and we know the serve. I think he'd get... Coley Woodrow, I think, is better as an out-and-out striker if he gets decent service. If he has to provide the service, because I just want to bear it. Love him or hate him, but his pass rate is the best in the team. I mean, the stats that Andy gave us last week. Surely, if you're going to have to win a game, you need somebody who can pass a ball to one of your players.
Return the ball,
Bear is top of that tree, but he's nowhere to be seen.
Before we move on to predictions, Carlo, one more for you. I did see on Twitter, which made me chuckle quite a lot. Have we got any better under Struber? Somebody said, we were bottom of the league before Struber took over, and we're still bottom of the league, so there's been no progress.
Listen, we could be bottom of the league with no points picked up. I think you have to look at where we were when Struber took over and where we are now. Yes, we are still bottom of the league, but like Andy says, if you look at the form taken last 6, we're 11th in the form table for the last 6 matches, if this is correct. Yeah. I'm looking at a flipping Google site. So I think, we're far more competitive. We've only lost 1 in the last 6. If the season would have started 6 matches ago, you would have thought, this is a decent season. We have got better. We've eliminated some of those mistakes. He's getting a more balanced team. Listen, he inherited this squad. If I ask Gordon Ramsay to come to my kitchen tonight and cook a la carte for me and my wife, it's not going to be a great meal, is it? Because there's only so much you can do with an Aldi ready meal. And it's a bit Struber.
And a pot noodle.
I mean, besides Ritzmaier and the couple that he brought in, in the January transfer window, largely these are players that he's inherited. So of course. His hands are a bit behind his back in that respect.
Carlo, what is the national dish of Holland? Just before we do predictions, what is that?
For me, chips with mayonnaise, mate.
Is it actually? Is that a national dish?
We don't really have a national cuisine, but chips with mayonnaise, raw onions, and peanut sauce is well liked. Yes.
Oh, I like the idea of that.
Peanuts. You'll have to come to ours one evening. I'll make it, mate. I've got peanut sauce.
That'll be good. We'll move on and we'll finish off with predictions. Andy, what? Not just a scoreline or not just a key man or scorer. What do you think it's going to look like tomorrow?
Yeah, just before that, Chris, just one more thing on Struber. Carlo's pretty comprehensive with what he said there, but
has Carlo got one right?
No. There's a but coming.
Carlo alluded to where we were when Struber took over. If I remember right, we were 5 points adrift from safety when he took over.
Okay.
And things weren't looking great. We'd taken weeks and weeks, something like 5 or 6 weeks to appoint a permanent manager. We'd not won a single game under Murray. So the gap was increasing just after Struber took over because he was getting used to his new squad, getting them used to how he plays. And you're thinking, well, the season's going to be over by Easter time. So to be within striking distance of safety with 3 games to go, it's Leeds and Brentford and Forest, so they're going to be tough. But I think you've got to give him some credit for that. In terms of a prediction for Saturday, I'd like to go with my heart, but I'm going to go with my head. I don't think Leeds are going to maul us like they did to Stoke. Okay. I think we're going to dig our heels in and try and grind out a draw or maybe a 1-0 win. I don't think we're going to. So I'm going to go for 2-0 Leeds.
Okay, Andy. That's rubbish, but we'll take it.
Sorry.
Carlo.
Very much. I've got the same battle going off in my head as Andy is. I think the first goal is going to be key. I think if Leeds gets that first goal, I think the jitters will set in a little bit, almost like it did at Stoke. And then it's the matter of the goal. And, best result possible for me is we get a draw. And that's what I'm going for. And I'll say that they'll score first, and we throw the kitchen sink at him. And Apoel, mate, it comes off his left testicle and it rolls in, but it counts, so we're having it.
I'll take that. I'm going to go for an Alex Moat winner. That's what I'm going to go for.
Have you been drinking long today, or have you just started? Is it?
I'm just trying to keep positive, Carlo. That's only when I do a question of sport with my friends, that Carlo, the rum. When I pretend to be Sue Barker and it goes, and I don't even know what the score is because I'm not drunk. Lads, thank you very much for joining us. I've enjoyed it. It's been nice to see you both.
Shall we do same again? Shall we do same again on? It's Sunday next, isn't it? Forest is on Sunday, isn't it?
Yeah. Adam Oxley might join us. I think Adam Oxley's he's due.
We'll bring him on again, and it'd be nice to sit here again, even with Adam Oxley after the Leeds match, to discuss our forecast and what we thought. I think it's nice if you preview it, we review it as well with the same people.
Okay, Carl.
And it's nice to have.
Thank you very much.
It's nice to have some more intelligent conversation when Andy's on as well, because I sometimes feel
all right. Call. Right. Andy, thank you very much for joining us. I will see you Friday, hopefully, all being well. Carlo, nice to see you, as always. Thanks for joining us on our podcast. It's the best podcast in Barnsley, as you know.
5 years we've been
Yeah. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. Stay well, stay safe. And
if you can, just click this button either here or here or there or there. Somewhere there. It says subscribe. Just click it for us. That's all.
Aye. You Reds.